There she is. It's time for the Jade and Sabrina show. Hi, everybody. Well, I'm a little bit scared to say this, but Jade has got a little tiny bald spot, and I think she's not absorbing all of her nutrition. So I need to give her flax seeds on a more regular basis. They're fighting over the free bags I just got at the store. They're like, oh, these are new bags. Oh, Diamond. Diamond's acting like a kitten. She's in the bag. Oh, that makes me so happy, guys. Oh. Okay. I thought I would get on here. I made a video this morning, and it was impromptu, and my hair was not washed. So I'm going to remake it, and then I'm going to probably make my dinner. Remember to stay hydrated. I'm thinking about going live. It's interesting because as this video is going to be talking about Tina Turner, she had mentioned that she felt she was more popular out of the United States. And she was pretty darn popular in the United States. I've had several people communicate with me that are out of the country. And I think the only donation I've ever received for this channel has been from a viewer from out of the country. You know who you are. I hope you know who you are. And so I'm thinking about making a live in the afternoon once a week so that those of you who are out of the country can hop on around 7 to 9 p.m. at night, because you deserve it. Now, that being said, I would like to ask if anyone has been watching any of my series of videos. I have a lot of playlists. I have over 300 and some videos. I think it's like 380. And you enjoy hearing about your natal chart and stellar magic and how it can really work to change things fairly effortlessly, or anything else that I've shared for I think 6 years now on my channel, then even if you only get one thing that helps you out of a video, please make a donation to help support this channel. It helps make me feel like it's worthwhile. I also feel good when people give me testimonies or they give me a thank you. It doesn't happen that often, but it's worth it after, 6 years of me doing this. Now, I do have a couple of friends in the U.S. that watch me, and so the Wednesday lives are probably going to be more accessible to them. But I could also do one, say, on Saturday around 12 or 1 my time, which would make it 7 or 8 for those of you that are in the UK, in Europe. And that, I believe that covers the London, England area as well as the Ukraine. So yeah, it's wonderful to hear where the people are from. And I haven't really looked at my desktop to look at the map of the world. I have in the past, and I just was really surprised at how many people were watching me from out of the country. However, I believe they have access to free internet. They can't afford to pay for it. So, before I make my dinner, I thought I would talk a little bit about stellar magic once again and what I have recently learned. Now, you know, if you've been following me, I had an incredible aha moment, I think that's what you call it, when I hit upon astrological magic or stellar magic. And this is based on ancient astrology. Now, I've had 2 messages in the past from my spirit helpers, in that I would be finding out my true self, and then also I would be discovering things from antiquity. And that's really only happened since, I think, late 2018 going into early 2019, as I was getting ready to put my house for sale, sell my furniture, and sell my house. So, in my opinion, the timing was perfect because, like I said, I'd made a talisman that I believe really helped me sell my house at the last minute, just before Taurus was leaving the skies. There's my pendant. So I just felt like, again, it was this last piece of information that I was probably searching for. And I had already worked magic with Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, which relates to Astarte. And so I was kind of ready to move on. And I had also done a meditation with the stars and had an incredible astral travel that evening. So, you know, I knew that there was star stuff. I've always been interested in the stars, looking at the stars, watching videos, watching Star Trek and all of that. And I used to really wish for Scotty to beam me up. Until the day I actually got visited by a little probe. And I had a message channeled to me that I have ET helpers. So, that being said, I was led to Clifford Hartley Lowe to actually start learning about ancient astrology and astrological magic. So, you know, again, I just dove in head first, which a lot of times is how it is when we really need something. One of the reasons that I'm so passionate about this is because it can help someone who's searching, who really needs it, and needs it fairly fast. Star energy is incredibly powerful. It's at the top of this hierarchy system that we live in, the 9th plane. 9 is a power number. It's the highest number you can go before you start over again with the number 1. So I began working with Moon, Taurus, and Aldebaran. Now, I didn't have the software, so I wasn't able to calculate when the moon was going to be the closest to Aldebaran. I was kind of in a hurry. It was either I was going to be homeless or my house was going to sell within the next 45 days, approximately. So I pulled out a piece of jewelry I had picked many, many years ago. I'm sure it wasn't by mistake. It was a moonstone engraved in silver. So I engraved it on when the moon was waxing, and I don't know if it was a Sunday or a Monday, but Taurus was in the heavens, and I got out some incense and a candle, and I made my statement to Aldebaran, Taurus, and the moon. And I begged for them to help me not only sell my mobile home, but to really stop the cycle of poverty that I was in and help me get back to middle class. And so I finished that, and I kept doing my business, working hard every day, going to work, keeping the house clean, having showings every weekend. And then at the end of May, someone said, I want to come in and buy the house. So then I had like 5 days to clean up and get out, and I knew where to go. I'd already picked a place. Now from there, I had planned to take the money I got from my mobile home, invest it in the stock market, live in the studio apartment for a year, and then go put money down on some kind of a little fixer-upper or something. That didn't happen. However, I was able to elevate my lifestyle because I was led to this place. And I've only recently realized this is a middle class income, because you have to have a certain amount of dollars coming in every year to be able to afford this rent every month. Now, it wasn't easy for me when I got into it. So this has made me realize I want to talk to you about wealth, and I want to talk to you about Taurus. Now, even though Taurus and Moon in Taurus can represent grabbing this energy and bringing it down to earth, or having Moon in Taurus in your chart when you are born, can represent your ability to actually accumulate a fairly large amount of money, or have good work where money is just coming in a steady basis. Taurus is a fixed sign, and Aldebaran is a fixed star. So think about things that are steady. And a fixed income is one of them. Okay, so in that vein, I want to mention my ex-husband. In doing his chart, I realized his North Node was in Taurus in his chart, and that represents him working towards having a stable financial situation in his life later on. It was in the upper half of his chart, which is generally when we're starting to get a little older. And that was what he was to work towards, and that is what he was to achieve in this life. And he has now a fixed income with his retirement and a little bit from his 401k, and it is helping him. And that was his goal. That was what he was needing and wanting to achieve, so that he could live out the rest of his life with, a somewhat meager income. He said, I couldn't make it here with that. I really couldn't. He'd have to stay in his old mobile home. But back in his country, he can build a house and actually elevate his station compared to what it was when he was growing up with his mother as a young boy. So in comparison to my friend who has Moon in Taurus at her first house, she also has Saturn, which means she was going to have to work for it. And they have worked steady, and they have worked hard, and they have picked jobs that paid well, and they have made it a point to be disciplined and to always go to work. And that's another thing that my ex had, unless he was very sick. So, that's something good I've learned from him. It doesn't necessarily mean wealth. That's what I'm learning. Taurus can elevate your station, but you may have to work to maintain it. Now, my friend and her husband have had, middle class, decent paying jobs, and they've been able to invest, and they have made a lot of money, but they're not millionaires. They're not millionaires yet. Now, in comparison, I was looking up Spica because I was thinking of working with Spica to actually bring in more wealth, and I hit upon Tina Turner's natal chart. There's a woman called Krassi, Krassi, in the Ukraine, and she does sidereal astrology. And she talks about the fixed stars and astrology. I like to watch her from time to time. She's very good, in my opinion. She's very learned in that area. And she said she was looking at Tina Turner's chart, and she said, look at Aldebaran. She said, if you know, I've talked about Aldebaran. It is this fixed star that raises people up into higher positions in life. Tina Turner has Moon in Taurus, and it's practically sitting right on top of Aldebaran. So when you have those two things together, you are assured some type of elevated station in life. And in her case, it was entertainment. Now, with it being in Taurus, she also made a lot of money. Now, we all come into this life with a cross to bear. So her Saturn was in her relationship area. But that seemed to catapult her to just figure out how to do things and keep her name. And then she actually went on, I think, to become even more well-known just as Tina. And I love Tina Turner, so this was just wonderful information for me to come across with some woman of color that I love so much. It's interesting because even though it's in her first house, Crossy said the head of the lion was right there. And so that's where her love of the lion's mane and her signature hair seems to come from. Now, being a Cancer, I'm not surprised that she had digestional issues, whether it was her stomach or her intestines. I'm not surprised. That is a very sensitive area for Cancer. So, yeah, in her case, it definitely brought her not only public recognition, raising her status from where she had grown up, I think was in poverty somewhere. And even as a young person, Saturn wasn't there, so it didn't delay her already getting recognition and getting, elevated into a position at a young age. And then, of course, as she got older, it got even stronger. So yeah, there was another thing in her chart that indicated leaving the country, and she was very well received out of the U.S. I don't know, but anyway, she had a much better relationship with a man from Sweden or Switzerland, and that's where she ended up living the rest of her life. So I wanted to point these two differences out. Again, I hope that this little snippet more about stellar magic is something that you can think about doing, because stellar magic does not really require extensive training. All other systems of magic generally require several years or more of study and practice. Stellar magic really doesn't. If you're willing to put forth some effort and some time to get your natal chart printed out with sidereal astrology, and get someone to interpret it for you, you can find the areas that seem to be your trouble spots. And if you are truly suffering for, several years or more, and you're looking to try to get a handle on this and use your will and a couple of astrological representations of things to harness the energy, basically tie a lasso around it in a sense, and either bring it to you or bind it. All right, let me give you a little story before I go. I was watching more of the videos of Clifford Hartley Lowe, and he said something I hadn't heard him say before, and that is when he saw a really bad aspect in his chart, he took a representation of that planet and he made a clay representation of it, and he bound it in twine and he put it on his Jupiter altar. I don't know why, I don't know what the aspect was, but he said life, continued, and about 5 years later he went to look at his chart again, and he said it was not in that house anymore. He said it was gone. I'm sure it wasn't gone. It had moved somewhere else, probably to a better position. He said, if I had not done that, I wouldn't be standing here today. So this is someone who used his will and a representation of the planet and said, look, I have this information now. I am armed with this information, and I don't want this to happen. So he used his will as a human being, and he used a representation, sympathetic magic, and he caused something to change. And he is still alive to this day. So with that, I will close this video for now, and I hope you are more interested in stellar magic, because it is the only magic that doesn't require lengthy study and practice, and is powerful enough to actually change circumstances in your life. It has changed mine within a year, and I didn't even really consciously plan and take control, you know, and go where I thought I needed to go. I was led to this place, and I didn't even have to apply. So I hope I've piqued your interest, and let me know if you think you'd be able to join a live if you're out of the country. I'd be happy during the summer to make a live at a time where you would be able to hop on between 7 and 9 p.m. Thank you so much, and I will see you soon.